This is Newsroom. Hello and welcome from Johannesburg here in South Africa. I'm Evan Jansen. The show, of course, always live and broadcast from our studios here in Auckland Park. Don't forget, we are live on YouTube right now, with the whole show is always available on demand on our YouTube channel a little bit later. Now, today we look at the weather warnings that have been issued around the country here in South Africa. And our question of the day, how has the current weather affected your community? Send us pics if you have, and tweets to @SABC Newsroom. We'll run the good ones a little bit later. Also, we'll look at the latest news from Burundi, the challenges facing entrepreneurs here in South Africa. There's a man that makes water from air. We'll look at the most lucrative football cup competition on the continent, and we close with the world freestyle dance champion. But first, let's get the day's news from Anine.
Good morning, I'm Anine Dormal. Let's take a look at the stories making headlines today. In the United States, 3 people are reported to have been killed after a gunman opened fire at a cinema in the state of Louisiana. Witnesses say the man opened fire about 20 minutes into a screening of a film in the town of Lafayette. One of those killed was the gunman, who's reported to have turned the weapon on himself. Several people were wounded in the shooting and are in a critical condition. Meanwhile, 3 suspected truck hijackers are due in court today. Last night, a shootout between robbers, security guards and police left 4 people dead in the Johannesburg south suburb of Rosettenville. 2 guards and 2 hijackers were killed. According to police, a courier truck carrying electronics valued at over 1 million rand was hijacked in Selby. Police Minister Nathi Nhleko and Public Works Minister Thulas Mthezi are expected to appear before the Nkandla Committee. This when it resumes its sitting next week in Cape Town. Opposition parties are also want President Jacob Zuma, the Public Protector and the Nkandla Architect to appear before the committee, but this seems unlikely. The committee has wrapped up its visit to KwaZulu-Natal. The European Union is ready to impose sanctions on Burundians failing to help end the Central African nation's crisis. This was announced by the EU's foreign policy chief following elections that Brussels and Washington say were not credible. Facing its worst political crisis since the end of civil war in 2005, Burundi is awaiting the results of Tuesday's vote in which President Pierre Nkurunziza ran for a 3rd term. And Kenyans are ready to welcome US President Barack Obama to their country later today. It will be Obama's first trip to his father's homeland as president. He will be attending the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Nairobi before going to Ethiopia. And in cricket, rain could have the final say in the first test match between South Africa and Bangladesh in Chittagong. Play has not started on the 4th day. South Africa fought back on the 3rd day and are in 17 runs in arrears with 10 second inning wickets still intact. Well, remember, you can get stories on our Newsroom Facebook page. Just search for Newsroom. You can also follow us on Twitter @SABC Newsroom. Evan, over to you.
Thank you, Nina. Now, the South African Weather Service has issued a series of flood warnings across the southern parts of the country. This is heavy rain pounds the eastern and western Cape, with more significant downpours expected over the weekend. Heavy snowfalls are also expected in the northern parts of both provinces, as well as the Drakensberg. It's going to be an especially wet and cold weekend in the eastern Cape, with heavy falls in excess of 50 millimeters per day in the former Transkei and Amatole districts. Squatter camps are already waterlogged and disaster management remains on high alert. Municipalities have also closed several graveyards because of the flooding. Now, from the Nelson Mandela Bay Metropolitan, we are joined by the Communications Officer, Mtubanzi Mniki. Very good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning.
It's been raining steadily for the past 4 days. Just give us an update of the preparations and mop-up operations and the scale of what's going on in the Eastern Cape.
Yes, it's true that we've been experiencing a lot of rain, more especially in Nelson Mandela Bay. That has led to a number of evacuations of our people from informal settlements. Currently, we have about 657 people that we have already evacuated from different areas to community halls, to an extent that now we are struggling a bit to provide for them things like food and then blankets. We have also already asked NGOs to assist. And we've been told by the South African Weather Services that it's going to get worse, and we must be on high alert. As a result, our disaster management team, the whole team, is on standby after hours, and some of them are in sites that we know that are affected and will be affected if the rain continues. And the number of people that we've moved is increasing steadily, and we advise that they must quickly contact their councillor offices immediately if ever they suspect that there is a possibility of flooding or waterlogging, because this affects them negatively, more especially children.
Quickly, I've seen that you've closed several graveyards in the area as well. Is this going to affect the weekend's proceedings in the province?
This is a difficult time. This is a difficult time for families. It's true we've closed more than 5 graveyards already because they are waterlogged. It's impossible to work there, even for our employees who are digging graves. It's impossible to work there. Even cars that are coming in there get stuck in mud. So we've been advised by our experts within the municipality to close those graves until the weather clears. It's unfortunate. We feel the pain the families are going under, and we've already sent a communication through media and through the funeral undertakers that they must communicate with families, and we've already apologized to them that this is not a situation we wish for. And the South African Weather Services has told us that the weather is going to get worse. So you can imagine the situation is bad now. If the rain continues today and tomorrow, the situation will be much more worse. So we don't want to see a situation where we will do burials Saturday, and the evening of Saturday, coffins will be flowing, and that's not a scene that we want to see. That's why we have advised our communities to rather talk to us so that we can see alternatives that we can do, or maybe do burials in following weekends, or maybe do funeral programs and then follow up with the burial at another time when the weather clears.
I wanted to ask you finally, snowfall and more rain is expected for the weekend into the beginning of next week. Are you expecting traffic disruptions, closure of roads, that sort of thing to also be in the offing?
Yes, we do. Although we are not an area specifically as Nelson Mandela Bay that experiences snow. We've been told by South African Weather Services that some areas in the Eastern Cape will experience snow. But for us, the main worry is roads that will have to be closed, because we've got a challenge of stormwater drainage that needs to be upgraded. We are doing that, of course, but it takes time because it needs a lot of financial resources. But the traffic department is also on alert to assist. Fortunately, we work well. We immediately inform motorists of any roads that have been affected by heavy rain. So we are all on a high alert here in Nelson Mandela Bay as officials to assist and make this difficult situation better. It's Mother Nature, but we'll do what we can do to make the situation better.
I thank you for joining us today from the Nelson Mandela Bay Metropolitan Communications Officer, Mtuba Nzimniki, telling us about mop-up operations, rescue operations, even in some of the informal settlements there in the area. But it's not a situation that's unique to the Eastern Cape today and this weekend. The Western Cape, Drakensberg, it's even been raining, unseasonal rain really in the northern parts of the country overnight. Our meteorologist, Paul Tsiatsimonari, is here with us to talk about what's happening and also what we can expect over the weekend. Morning, Tsiatsi. Nice to have you with us.
Good, yeah.
It's been raining overnight.
Yeah.
Here in Johannesburg, we've had thunder showers in July, flooding in the Eastern Cape, snowfalls all over. Give us the overview. What's going on?
Yeah, well, it's a bit unusual, and also we sort of getting used to it. I don't know if you remember back in 2010, we had one of the most hectic cut-off lows ever, right in the middle of the World Cup, in the middle of winter, and it one of the coldest days, and it came with rain. And every year ever since then, we've been getting one of those just, once or twice during the winter. And we're not really supposed to be having rain here in, more inland regions like Gauteng and Limpopo province. But in March of this year, the South African Weather Service, which is, they did really some good work there, and they started these forecasts and predictions for what's going to happen in the winter, in a sense that the autumn rain is also a bit delayed, and there's so much of it as well. So, which led to thinking that the winter is going to get a lot colder, or it will have spells of really cold days and also rainy weather like this. And that's basically what's been happening. And climate variability, that's what's going on right now. Yeah.
What's the expectation for the weekend? I had a look, and it looks like it's not that good all over the country for the weekend, especially in the southern parts of the country. We've got a slide.
There's a slide.
Let's talk us through that one.
Okay. The most important things to look at is the little blue stripe there. Everybody knows it. It's called the cold front, and that's what's basically leading to everything that's happening there. So first of all, cold front, southwesterly winds come up with really cold air masses, and they come through and they change temperatures. Like within an hour, temperatures can fall by 5 or 6 degrees already, so which is quite big. And that's basically what's causing that. And then comes with high seas, strong winds, gusty winds that usually come through over the Western Cape province. That's what's coming through, causing, high waves.
When we talk about high seas, what are we talking about in the Cape? Swells of up to 10, 12 meters?
Between
beachfront properties under threat, that sort of thing?
Between 5 and 6 meters. I wouldn't really take it at 10 just yet. But that's basically that. It also depends on the strength of the wind speed. So at the moment it's about 50 kilometers an hour. So those could usually be given out as a watch or a warning for gale force winds and so forth. So that's that in terms of the high seas and heavy rain.
The outlook is quite tough for the next couple of days, and people should be on alert. What's your advice? This is how we're going into Sunday. But what's your advice to people in these sort of areas? We see snowfall throughout the central parts of the country, heavy rains moving up towards KwaZulu-Natal and the like.
Well, the most important thing is, especially people in low-lying areas, we've seen that in the Western Cape province, how flooding really happens very fast. Most important things would be maybe creating digging holes or trenches to guide the water away from your home, and also clearing out the water drainage systems in your house or in the cities, like you heard with the Nelson Mandela Metro is doing. The disaster management is actually working on it, especially things that are already in existence, to make sure that the water is not kept in one space, which is what causes the flooding. So and with the snowfalls, stay out of it. I mean, we South Africans, we're not really that good with cold weather.
We're not good with snow at all.
Yes, dress warm. But the good news is that by Sunday, so this is a transition into Sunday, so it's still going to be cold, but the rainfall and the snow slightly moving away. So we're not expecting it to be as bad, and the winds are also a bit slower, not as strong as today and tomorrow. So that's a bit of the good news that I can bring. Otherwise, we should all move to Skukuza. It's always summer there. Temperatures at 30 degrees.
I love Musina, I love Skukuza, Palapora. The weather's fantastic there.
Exactly.
Tsetsi, thank you for coming in at short notice to come and give us a quick update. It's really concerning what's happening around the country weather-wise, but it's that time of the year where it gets a bit crazy, doesn't it?
It is, it is. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming in again. That's Tsetsi Munari, who's our meteorologist, he's like a doctor, on call all the time. Now, of course, the story is the Weather Service has issued a series of flood warnings across the southern parts of South Africa. Here's a look at what you guys are talking about with regards to this on social media. Last day in the Drakensberg with the impending doom of the flight back to Cape Town. Let's hope the weather is favorable. Sean, I think you might be in for a snowy surprise there, my friend. Gizas says cold weather caused by Cape snow, rainy weather in winter, cold affecting weekend plans. Yes, everyone's winter plans, weekend plans are going to be affected. Diva G says, why are we experiencing Cape Town weather in Joburg? Well, Tsietsi Monari, Diva, just explain to us. The cut-off low is the problem. That's why we're getting this kind of weather here. Jackie Libya Kasham says, Cape Town weather in Josie today. Awesome. Love the rain in my warm bed. Meh. Really, my dear? Some of us have to work. Wish we could all stay in bed when the weather's like this, but the show always goes on. Now, today's pick of the day comes from Mugo. And, well, it's captioned Burundi crisis. Mourners on the way to lay to rest a victim of post-poll violence in Kamina in Bujumbura. There is a very disturbing picture, isn't it? Now, Burundi's election results are expected tomorrow, and the country's woes seem far from over. Some opposition parties have told the SABC that they will reject the outcome of Tuesday's presidential election. One of them, former President Sylvester Ntibantunganya, talked to our contributing editor, Vuyamvoko.
I don't recognize the results of those elections.
So you don't recognize the outcome
No, I don't.
of this election?
I don't. What I would like is that we go on in the negotiations, which began with the mediation of President of Uganda, Kaguta Yoweri Museveni.
But to achieve what? Do you want new elections?
Yes. We must have new elections in which all those leaders of all parties I talk about participate. It's the condition, the main condition to stabilize this country. For power and the institution, which will be from the elections you speak about, will not be able to stabilize this society. It's not possible.
Now, but that's not what the East Africa community is talking about. If I understand what the East Africa community is talking about, they are talking about a negotiations between the CNDD-FDD and the opposition about some sort of a government of national unity. They are not talking about rerunning elections at all.
In our constitution, if you want to be in the government, you must first of all be a political party. Second, you must have participated in the legislative election. And third, you must have 5% of member of the parliament. So a government like this is not possible. And if we want this as a solution, first of all, we have to negotiate how to reconsider the constitution. But also, I told you that myself and other parties, we have many conditions to consider to be sure that the elections which will be organized will be credible.
That's our contributing editor, William Voko, doing that interview. Now let's take a look at what else is happening around the globe. Well, we start in Kenya. Here you see a picture. That was, well, sent by our Kenyan correspondent, Sarah Kimani. We're talking about Barack Obama's visit there. The Daily Nation, both leading with UN President Barack Obama. The visit to Kenya there. Then we move to the USA, where the USA Today leads with a man who opened fire with a handgun late last night at a movie theater in Lafayette in Louisiana, killing 2 people and injuring at least 7 others before killing himself. Finally, in Washington, the Post reports that Turkey has agreed to let the United States use Turkish soil to launch air attacks against the Islamic State, signaling a major shift in policy on the part of the once reluctant American ally. This was said by U.S. officials yesterday. Let's now take a look at what's happening around the country here in South Africa. In Johannesburg, the Labour Court will today hand down judgment in an application by a suspended independent police investigative director of head Robert McBride to interdict his disciplinary hearing. We stay in Johannesburg. 4 foreign nationals who were arrested in the East Rand yesterday after a 17-year-old schoolboy was shot and killed in Tokoza are expected to appear in court on a charge of murder. The learner was allegedly part of a group of children that never left for a COSAS march in Pretoria and instead started to vandalise the foreign-owned shop. And in Cape Town, a 50-year-old woman who is accused of abducting a Zephany nurse at the Groote Schuur Hospital in 1997 is out on bail of 5,000 rand. She's expected to make a fourth court appearance today. That's what's happening locally. Time for us to take a break. We'll be back after a short break.
It is in your hands to make of our world a better one for all.
Welcome back. You're with Newsroom. What are some of the challenges facing entrepreneurs looking to break into the retail industry in South Africa and even the rest of the continent? Now, from tomorrow, the Concept of Trade Retail seminar series will address some of the key issues facing independent retailers in this highly competitive environment. These trade workshops are aimed at empowering independent retailers to maximize their businesses in the retail space. And here to tell us a little bit more is Mona Lisa Sam, founder of retail consulting company Tungwa Retail Solutions. Good morning.
Good morning, Evans. Good, thank you.
Now, your business recognizes that there's a growing need for retail solution partners in both the formal and the informal sectors. Is this why this seminar is going ahead?
Absolutely. I think just mostly from my time in the shopping center industry, obviously having dealt with large retailers as well as independent retailers, and those who had not been really exposed to a formal retail environment, which is very, very competitive. And you find in those environments, unfortunately, in as much as they attract a lot of entrepreneurs, they also don't succeed and actually end up closing their stores or closing their businesses, which is obviously always very unfortunate in a shopping center environment because you could end up losing your car and all sorts of things. So we thought, we need to come together as experts in the industry to be able to impart knowledge, tools and skills to really shield some of the independent retailers as startups so that they can at least survive the first 3 to 4 years and be able to grow, to actually build growing businesses that can spread throughout the country.
You've isolated 3 categories of retailers in the 4 events that you're going to have. They're going to be, we're all going to be held in Johannesburg. Why have you decided on Johannesburg? And tell us, what are these 3 categories that you'll be looking at?
Okay. Johannesburg, purely because Johannesburg has the most a retail infrastructure, as well as also attracting a lot more entrepreneurs. So the 3 categories that we're focusing on are the aspirant retailers. Those are the ones who have a concept but don't know how to enter the retail industry. They don't know how to get into a shopping center. They don't know which platform they should use. And then we've got those that are in retail and are really struggling. So they've already got their operations, but it's not profitable. And then you've got independent retailers who kind of have a sense that the consumer is changing and they don't know how to respond to that. So really our platforms are designed to address all of those phases of retail, if I can call it that, if you are in mainstream.
Now, I see some interesting speakers. The keynote speaker will be Richard Maponya, who, of course, famous for the Maponya Mall here in Soweto. Who are some of the others, and what's your expectation from Mr. Maponya himself?
Well, in terms of Mr. Maponya, we're really looking forward to him sharing his insights, the contrast between 28 years ago and now. A lot of the entrepreneurs are still struggling to get finance, and he had to be innovative at that time. We've also got Lebu Motshekga, who is MD of Foshizi, and he's going to shatter assumptions about the black consumer, which obviously impact on retail. And then we've got Newo Matau, who's going to be talking about building brands for the future, which is really going to help our entrepreneurs to talk about or be equipped as to how they build their brands to be sustainable and so forth.
Where can entrepreneurs, where can they get more information on what you guys will be doing, and how can they attend one of your seminar events? Okay,
so they can visit our website to make bookings. It's www.concept2trade2.co.za, and the event itself will be at SAP Office Park, that's in Woodmead Drive. But they're more than welcome to visit our website and make bookings.
Price, what is the cost?
The cost is per session is 650 Rand per session.
650 Rand, and they're all going to be in Johannesburg, what we call the land of milk and money. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
That's Mona Lisa Sam, is the founder of retail consulting company Tungwa Retail Solutions, and we're talking, of course, about the Concept to Trade retail seminar series that will be held here in the City of Gold. Now, let's take a quick look at a tweet of the day before we look at another interesting entrepreneur who will follow us shortly. The tweet of the day today comes from Fari saying, "Another week, another shooting." Talking about gun laws, yet another week, another shooting, yet no changes in gun laws. It's sad that this is becoming normal. Yes, that is what is very much on the minds of all Americans today. Of course, another shooting happening there overnight. I can tell you, opening fire in the cinema, really causing much consternation. Now, that gunman, of course, had opened fire at the cinema in the state of Louisiana, well, killing 2 people and injuring several others before shooting himself. The attacker was a 58-year-old white male armed with a handgun. No further details have been forthcoming, but on social media, lots of theories are doing around. Philip says people in countries learn from their mistakes. Apparently that doesn't apply to the United States. Yes, they have a strong gun lobby in America. I'm sure they pay a lot of lobbying within the Senate there. Tammy says it just doesn't make sense. It's insane how many incidences are taking place one after the other. Prayers up. Yes, Vicky says, my heart goes out to everyone in the theatre in Louisiana. It's horrible that people like this exist. And there you have challenge the media. Focus on victims and heroes, not their killers. Tom Shepherd says the media needs to stop inspiring copycat murders. Here's how. Yes, that's maybe a very, very smart idea. But in America, they've been fighting about the gun laws and about the availability of guns for decades now. Nothing seems to happen. Now for an interesting man. While KwaZulu-Natal authorities scramble to replenish water reserves from other sources, Durban-based businessmen decided to take matters into their own hands. In 2011, Ray de Vries, along with his colleagues, created Water from Air, a mobile water maker, and he's convinced that he's found the solution to the region's water shortages. Water from Air is a new water source that has been called a possible groundbreaking solution to South Africa's water challenges, since enough water is made to ensure safe drinking water for every person in the country. Water from Air is completely sustainable. That does not draw from the country's water resources in any way. Now, joining us in studio is the Chief Executive of Water from Air, Ray de Vries. Morning, Ray. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Interesting project. I'm sure you must have lots of interest, not just in South Africa, but from around the world. Tell us how the concept works.
Yeah, we've had a lot of interest from all over, particularly in South Africa, California, South America. But the way that it works, our machines suck in the air, cool it down, the condensation drops into an ultraviolet bin, it goes through filtration process, reverse osmosis, and then it's held in an ultraviolet tank and then ready to be dispensed, whether it's a bottle, whether it's in an office, a home, a lodge, hospital, or whether we're taking it to drought-stricken areas like we're seeing on screen now.
Yeah, we live in a very dry country, which is what people don't often realize, is that South Africa is often a challenge with its water sources. Truly speaking, you believe that this can be the silver bullet that overcomes the water challenges we face as a nation?
Absolutely. It's not going to become, it is. We are making 5 of these a week now, and it's going all over the place. They're solar, they're gas driven, they're diesel generator driven, or 3-phase. So these are being put out to places like Belito on the east coast, Verulam, all the northern KZN, southern KZN. And we can't make enough because it's the only other water source we've got. It's all very well managing your water resources properly.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we need an alternative water source. There's not enough water on this planet to sustain the number of people that there are.
Yeah, there's fresh water and more and more people coming. I wanted to ask you about cost because, I see in the Middle East they desalinate seawater, which is a very expensive process if you think about it. It's about cost you the same takes a litre of oil to desalinate a litre of water. How competitive are you guys?
It's much cheaper to do it this way. Every cubic meter of air weighs 1.22 kilograms. So our source is right here. It's all around us. So we don't have to go to a sea. We don't have to go there. We don't pollute anything. It's sustainable because that water comes in and that water goes out again. And even if it does run into the sea, it becomes water in the air again, so we use it again. And we're seeing incredible results coming back from places where there are no water, and then also the convenience factor. But the desalination, whilst it does work, I was in Dubai a couple of weeks ago, what they're doing is they're just pushing a hang of a lot of salt back into the water.
Yeah.
So whilst you're taking from the sea, you're putting back into the sea only salt, and that concentrate isn't great.
Yeah, no, that's not a good thing. How do you think authorities should be addressing the long-term water solutions that we need in South Africa?
My colleagues and I we've been doing this for 7 years now. We've come to market now, and just at the right time, thank goodness. In fact, this morning coming to studio, you wouldn't think it was the right time because there's a lot of water around.
There's a lot of water around today.
But we've already designed big pantechnicons that are water from air makers. We've designed a town that is a water from air making town. And this isn't science fiction. This is right now. We don't face a crisis. We face a catastrophe.
Yeah, we do. We absolutely face a catastrophe. Fresh water, especially in rural areas. How can you guys help the communities that are often at the effect of things like climate change, water shortages? We see issues with infrastructure not being serviced regularly and falling apart. How can you guys make a contribution there?
I promoted the Doozy Canoe Marathon for 19 years, and this is where I got the idea. So I've seen rural settlements, I've seen first world, third world. The way that we can, each and every citizen out there in South Africa that can do this is every litre of water we take from a machine leaves a litre of water for our fellow countrymen in the rural areas, in the dams, in the rivers of our country. Yeah. So that's the way that each and every one can do it. I think that each and every one corporate should be using our machines on every floor, and that's not a sales gimmick. That's what should be done. Yeah. So that we're taking from the air, we're not taking from the natural resources of our country, and we're helping our fellow South Africans, and it's pure, 100% pure.
If I want to put one in my backyard, Ray, what will it cost me as an individual?
You can put one in your front yard. You can put one in your home. A home is going to cost you about 25,000 Rand, but you can also rent it for 1,250 Rand, and our website does that. You can have a look at that. But the bigger one costs around about R1 million, but it depends on what we're doing. Yeah. 6 of those machines takes an entire building off the water grid. And South Africa is the first place in the world. We've given birth to another thing, and it's called water from air, but the actual thing is instead of load shedding, it's water shedding. In fact, we've got both now.
Yeah, we do have both. That's a concerning thing, and unfortunately, it seems to be raining. A lot of rain is heading towards KwaZulu-Natal. So that might sort out that one in the short term, but it's the long-term solutions that we have to look at. And this is a fantastic invention you guys have come up with, Ray. I thank you for joining us, and all the best with us. I hope that that we can implement it on a larger scale around the country. Thanks again.
Magic, thanks. And we're making rain while the sun shines.
Oh, there you go. Make it rain. Of course, I know that to mean something completely different. Let's hope that the weather is not affecting you around the country. Of course, today and this weekend, it's been raining for 4 days in the Eastern Cape. Flood warnings have gone out. We've asked you how, in our question today, how is the weather affecting, there it is, how is the current weather affecting your community? If you have pictures, send it to us. We'll put it on a little bit later, or if it's really interesting, we'll run it back again on Monday, because it's going to be a very, very wet weekend. Eastern and Western Cape, Drakensberg, snow. The weather's on its way to KwaZulu-Natal as well, so it should be interesting. But let's have a look now at what's happening on Newsroom's Facebook page. Of course, the Rand gave up brief gains to trade weaker against the dollar yesterday, despite the central bank lifting interest rates. A decision viewed as a borderline call in an economy caught between the prospect of rising inflation and weak growth. On Friday, Kenya welcomes a man they fondly refer to as their son, American President Barack Hussein Obama. Expectations are high in the land of his father that he will come to the East African nation with good tidings. It's the first time he's visited his grandfather's homeland since taking office, and is likely to be the last time he visits the continent as American president. Then a 58-year-old gunman opened fire inside a crowded movie theater in Lafayette, Louisiana last night, killing 2 people and injuring 7 others before taking his own life. For more news and updates, go to Newsroom Facebook page. Just put SABC Newsroom in the search bar at the top. It will pop up and you can get all the latest. Time to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk to a world champion and we'll go into the weekend with some nice beats.
People, we are getting there, and thanks to you, Pati is set to become our country's 12th official language. Here's today's word. Substitute. Replacing a drinking buddy with somebody more fun. It's more like it.
Hey you, smooth supporter. Get a bottle of Jameson for only $244.99 and help make Party South Africa's 12th official language. Tops at Spa. Shake things up.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsroom on SABC News. Let's take a look at the stories making headlines today. In the United States, 3 people are reported to have been killed after a gunman opened fire at a cinema in the state of Louisiana. Witnesses say the man opened fire about 20 minutes into a screening of a film in the town of Lafayette. One of those killed was the gunman, who's reported to have turned the weapon on himself. Several people were wounded in the shooting and some are in a critical condition. Back home, 3 suspected truck hijackers are due in court today. Last night, a shootout between robbers, security guards and police left 4 people dead in the Johannesburg south suburb of Rosettenville. 2 guards and 2 hijackers were killed. And the European Union is ready to impose sanctions on Burundians failing to help end the Central African nation's crisis. This was announced by the EU's foreign policy chief following elections that Brussels and Washington say were not credible. Oh, remember, you can find all of those stories on our Newsroom Facebook page. Just search for Newsroom. You can also follow us on Twitter at SABC Newsroom. Evan, back to you.
Thank you very much, Annie. Now, the most lucrative cup competition on the African continent kicks off in South Africa on the 4th of August. That's just over a week's time. The winner of the MTN8 will pocket a cool 8 million rand. Now, MTN South Africa, in partnership with the Premier Soccer League, officially launched the 2015-16 season of the MTN8 Wafa Wafa tournament last night It's, of course, the oldest football cup competition now in South Africa, made up of the top 8 teams of the previous season now. I'm joined by Desiree Pue, who is the Sponsorship and Events Manager at MTN South Africa. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Evan. Thank you for having me.
Tell us about the expectation. Wonderful launch event last year. It's a competition that fans really enjoy. It's the start of the new season. But let's go back to the launch last night. Tell us what happened there.
Well, yesterday we had a big reveal where we officially kicked off the season by launching the MTN8 tournament. What we announced was a series of activities that we will be rolling out that includes a massive cash prize of 8 million rands for football fans. So it's an amount that matches what is offered to the winning team. But, fans of football and MTN8 would be familiar with the fact that we have been staging the last fan standing competitions. However, this year we decided to do it differently and announce that we will be making 8 new millionaires through the MTN8 competition.
Now that is sure to make the fans sit up and take note of this. 8 millionaires, cash millionaires. You're just going to give them R1 million each. How do you stand a chance to make this money?
We have actually fused 2 very natural elements, which is football and music, where we have had 8 artists remake old tracks that resonates very strongly with music. Our influence or our creative reference was the fact that a lot of footballers have been nicknamed after famous songs. I mean, we had some of the legends at the launch yesterday who actually have been nicknamed after songs. I mean, an example would be, Tsiki Tsiki Yo and Edward Mutale, who's called Magent. He actually has 3 song references that he can use. So with that inspiration and that creative reference, we offered 8 artists an opportunity to remake some of the old tracks. We have the likes of Messi Pakela's Ayashisa Mategi as one of the tracks. We've got the likes of Lucky Dube's they call it Ayobayo, but it's called I've Got You Baby. It's just some of the examples. So fans will just have to download a track of the MTN platforms, which is MTN Play and MTN Music Plus, to stand a chance to be one of 8 that will become a millionaire at the end of this year's season.
Now, the teams that are in the contest, of course, in the end, what's going to happen on the field that'll be different? The format stays the same?
The format stays the same. As we know, the top 8 clubs as per the PSL log standings of the previous season, the top 8 teams are the ones that get to contest the MTN8 Cup. So the first 4 would naturally receive home ground advantage, and with the next 4 being matched accordingly. So we will be seeing, kicking off on the 4th of August, we will be seeing Orlando Pirates get to host Ajax Cape Town at home at Orlando Stadium, as well as on the same night Bidvest will be hosting SuperSport United. All matches kick off at 19:30. I think from the comments that we received from the journalists yesterday, is that it's going to be an end from the reaction from the fans. They're very excited to see Pirates face off with Ajax Cape Town. They've got a very interesting history on the field. The same goes for Bidvest and SuperSport. I mean, you look back at the last season as well. They have had many upsets, but not to forget the following day, on the 5th of August, same time, 19:30, where Kaizer Chiefs will be hosting Maritzburg United. And, of course, who can forget the upset that Bloemfontein Celtic cost Mamelodi Sundowns last year? They are looking for an opportunity to avenge themselves.
Well, I can tell you that the fans are football starved already. I know the guys here in the studio, they don't have anything to talk about. Fortunately, Wafa Wafa is here. It's a beautiful trophy. Yes. It's a wonderful competition, most lucrative one on the continent. 8 million cash for the winner. Wouldn't you like to just share in the wealth? Thanks, Desiree, for joining us. That's Desiree Pue, who's the Sponsorship and Events Manager at MTN South Africa. We're talking about the MTN8 Wafa Wafa. Now, at Newsroom, we would like to congratulate Miss World, Rolene Strauss, on her engagement. It was announced this morning that she'll be tying the knot next year. Here's a look at what people are saying on social media. Of course, your views are welcome at SABC Newsroom. Welcome at SABC Newsroom. There you have Andre Kuntz saying, congrats on the engagement at Rolene Strauss. Bernard van der Westhuizen says, it's official, congrats. Daniel Strauss and Rolene Strauss on your engagement. Privileged to know both of you for quite a while. I can say, perfect match. Rolene Strauss, OMG, nice one. Is this a ring with a diamond or a diamond ring? What a question. Then Corinne Jordan says, at Rolene Strauss, congrats with your engagement. Beautiful woman inside and out. Yes, that is our Miss World, Rolene Strauss. Now she's married. There's the engagement ring. Lovely picture. Lovely picture it is, I can tell you. She's a lovely lady. She's Miss World. She's amazing. She's marrying a gentleman called Daniel Strauss. Now, I don't want to cause a Twitter storm by saying this, but only in Pretoria would a Strauss be able to marry a Strauss, and it's okay. Now, from one beautiful lady, Miss World, to another absolutely beautiful lady. Kezia van Vreden is a dancer that has gone under the radar a little bit. I think you're a world champion. You've gone overseas and you've come back as freestyle and slow dance world champion. Yes. Fantastic achievement. Lots of trophies that you had to come back. Your luggage must have been really, really full on the way back.
Yeah, it really was. It was amazing, though. The thrill, that competition was such a thrill, you know. The competition there is absolutely amazing, and I'm so happy to have actually represented South Africa.
Tell me about the competition, the contest. You of course travelled there at your own expense in a way,
yes,
and that in itself is a little bit difficult.
Yes.
But you know, that's where we live, I suppose. But
yes.
Tell me about the competition. And I know we've got some of the footage that your mother shot while
yes.
you guys were there. Maybe we can have a look at some of the pics that Mom shot, some of the video. We've tried to cut it properly, but
yeah,
you know, because your mother was carrying on and shaking
so
and all sorts, you know. But tell us about this competition. Tell us about freestyle and then slow dance. I don't think many people understand.
Yeah, because when I obviously explain myself, freestyle and slow dance, not a lot of people understand this sort of dance. It's not really out there as I think it should be. Freestyle is a very upbeat dance, extremely fast, you know. It's similar to a rhythmic gymnast, but on the floor, you know.
Now, here we see the pictures of you being
yes.
crowned world champion.
Yes.
I think it's absolutely amazing that you went up there with a South African flag
yes.
and draped all over you. The competition must have been very tough because I'm sure that the girls are very, very good.
Very good. You know, their stamina is absolutely amazing there. Like, just they're so different also, you know. I do think that they're a lot more advanced than us. I think that we could get to their, you know, where they are, their standard of level, you know.
Yeah.
But we have got a lot to look at as a South African country.
There's always a lot of... Just tell me quickly about the trophies itself, World Freestyle. Which one is which here? Because they're very big.
This one's for slow dance championships, the world's.
Yeah.
That one's for freestyle.
Yeah.
World Championships. And this one, I'm currently holding the title for South African Championships as well.
And in conclusion, quickly tell me about the senior in South Africa. How is it? What is it looking like at the moment? And what does the future hold for us? And what do you think your win would mean for dancing? Yeah.
In my honest opinion, I think that our dancing could look so much bigger, you know. This is obviously going to branch it, you know. I think that we can also get sponsors, you know, for the girls to get out there, because it is very expensive, as you say, to go overseas, you know. It's a dance for the younger youth, to get them out of trouble, you know. It keeps them occupied, especially for the younger girls. So
yeah, you know, our youngsters are often in peril, aren't they? Your mom is with, and she travelled with you. You guys must have had a lot of fun there.
We did. You know, a lot of stressful times. You know how it is when you get into competitions. You're obviously very nervous, so you're uptight. But she's always been there for me. She's been my manager, basically.
The Rock, you know, it's like that. Whenever I hear the same stories about all people that achieve, you know, is that the parents play a very strong role.
They do.
Parents support
really
a lot.
She's come through so much with me, because I've been dancing since the age of 9. So I've been dancing for 10 years now. And she's always been there for me, taking me to every single competition, always being there, doing my makeup. It's a lot of work.
Well, Kizzy, we've run out of time, but what a fantastic achiever.
Thank you.
You've done South Africa proud. I love that our flag was on the world stage once again. Thank you.
Thank you so
we're
much.
going to conclude with a bit of music this week. It's Friday after all. We're heading into the weekend. Music is something, of course, that arouses interest, pleasurable, the art of sound, in a time that expresses ideas and emotion in significant forms through the elements of rhythm, melody, harmony, and color. I like that. Today we have Amore Shube to perform her song called Make Me Believe. Amore, thank you for coming and take us into the weekend, my dear.
I need to hear those words from your mouth. Feel the love for a moment, even though I know it's fake. Desire, come and lie to me and tell me that I'm special. I need to hear those words from your mouth.